Okay, good to see everyone. And I want to dedicate tonight's thought to the women folk, the women who carry the vast burden of our homes, our families, and so much more. And I want to say something in their honor based on something I started yesterday. So yesterday, we were in the part of the tefillah which talks about Kol asher neshama b'apai yomer Hashem Elokei Yisrael melech. We say in the davening, we talk about anyone who has a neshama b'apai in their nostrils. And then we spoke, I stopped on trying to figure out. So we went to a rather lengthy discussion. But the gist of it is, I believe, if I remember correctly what I was talking about, that the breath that we breathe constantly, which is a constant ventilator that we're on an entire span around this world. We think we're on our own when we don't have COVID. But even if you don't have COVID, you're on a ventilator because without Hashem giving you the ability to breathe every second. So God is the great ventilator in the sky. And basically that reminds us that every second is an infusion of His will in everything that we do. And that reality and that thinking about that, I realize that every challenge that we get, every circumstance that we get, is God infusing that moment, and we acknowledge His presence, we acknowledge the challenge. And we spoke about making music, about the idea of the Teika Shefa, the Targum says, the sweet sounds that emanate from tears, which is the shofar we blow and we create music. And we said that what that means is, because all music is a product of tension, friction. And that's what life is about, and how you deal with tension, friction. That's how you express the neshama. That's what I said. And the shofar is exactly that. And that's why David HaMelech says the instrument that he ends the Tehillim with, all those instruments represent the challenges that he went through in life. If anyone went through friction and tension, it was David HaMelech, and yet he made such beautiful music despite all the challenges that he faced. And that's what he said yesterday. So, and I was thinking that the shofar is really, so it really goes back to the moment of creation, which Rosh Hashanah talks about. That's what Rosh Hashanah is about. It's the birthday of man, when man was created, on the sixth day of creation, which was Rosh Hashanah. That's when the year started. Every year we come back to that moment. We go back to that original moment where Hashem infuses us with the breath that came through our nostrils that we take in and we give back by blowing the shofar or speaking words of praise and shvach takadosh baruch Hu. But the shofar is the simplest, is taking the breath and transforming it into something with an instrument. And the instrument represents our body, it represents a man. And as I pointed out, we say actually, it's very similar to what we say in Nishmas. We say in Nishmas, if you remember, it says that we turn to God and we say that Al-Kain, therefore, Aivarim Sheblak Manu, the limbs that you've distributed to us, Ruach and Neshama Shvat Penu, Veloshan Zandavinu, Hein Yoidu Varchu, the Neshama you put into our spirit should give praise to you. And then we go into it's all about our entire existence, our kidneys, our innards, everything. It's all about dedicating our whole being to Hashem. And that's the neshama that fuses it, and that's represented in the shofar. In a sense, we're also a shofar, and we're a tool that Hashem infuses his breath through us, and he creates, and we create music if we allow the music, the neshama to flow. And I was thinking, when you blow a shofar, really, I thought about this many years ago. The first thing you have to do before you blow shofar is take a deep breath. You have to take the breath in. You can't blow if you don't take a breath in, a deep breath. You gotta have it. So you go back to that moment in creation where you realize that as we learned yesterday, Rav Shem Shalom says, also we so to speak take in and become great. A diaphragm expands and a lungs fill with air, as if we stand tall. But really, it's the Ratzon of Hashem. It's His breath that He gives us from Him that gives us the ability to be able to give it back and hopefully pay tribute to Him in the right way in everything that we do in life. That's what I said yesterday. So I wanted to come back, and I said I started off with those who came late. I wanted to give this as a tribute to all the women folk who carry our children, carry the burden of our homes, and so much more. So it's interesting. We one of the minhagim that we do on Rosh Hashanah, probably the most popular minhag that we know about, is the tapuach b'dvash. The apple and honey, everyone knows that. Even if people don't know the other simonim, everyone knows dip the apple in the honey, and that's universal. You'll ask, even Goyim would know that we dip the apple in the honey. Where does that come from? So it's interesting. The Vilna Gaon says that it goes back to the blessing of Yitzchak to Yaakov, which according to the Zohar, he quotes, took place on Rosh Hashanah. It's machlekes with the Pesach Rosh Hashanah. He says it took place on Rosh Hashanah. And if you remember the story, it says Vayarech, he says he smelled as Reach Hasada when he came in, disguised as Esav. Yitzchak smelled the smell of the field. And Rashi brings down, what field did he smell? He smelled the scent of a field of apples. Apples. Because Gan Eden is called the Chakal Tapuchin, the sweet smell. You walk into an orchard of apples, very sweet smelling. It's very inspiring. It's sweet, it's nice, and the apples are delicious fruit. Anyway, the Gan Eden is the Chakal Tapuchin, is a field of apples. So, and it says that when he came in, he heard the voice, he felt the hands of Esau, but he heard Hakol Kol Yaakov. What was the Kol Yaakov? He heard the voice. The Zohar says he heard the resemblance to the Kol Shofar, whatever that means. And I think it simply means he heard a voice that spoke with the Ruach of Ayibach Be'apav Nishmas Chaim. He sensed a tool called a Shofar that took the spirit that was given in him, the breath that he took from life, from Adam Rishon, and that we each take, and he gave it back. And it's the Kol Yaakov. That's what he heard, the Kol Yaakov. He heard a voice that reflects on that original voice in Gan Eden. So that's interesting. That's why we go back to that moment and we go to a Tapur specifically. But it's interesting. I found an unbelievable gematria. It says like this. We take a tapuach and we put it into dvash. So if you take the word tapuach, which means an apple, so the apple equals the following gematria: haneshama and haguf. The apple somehow embodies the fruit with all its fine smell, and sweet, whatever it represents, is somehow symbolic of haneshama and haguf. Haneshama and haguf. If you add up haneshama, it's 400. Haguf is 94. It's 490. It's 494. Okay. So that's Tapur. So somehow Tapur, we're coming on Rosh Hashanah night and we're placing a neshama to Hashem. We're giving you everything. We're giving back, not giving it back. We're saying we're going to transform that breath of life that you give us every second of our life, that we appreciate even more this year than any other year, and we're giving it back to you. And we're returning it to you pure with the expression of service to you. So the difference between the word haneshama, which is primary, and guf, and the body, is 94. The difference is 94. That's the difference between haneshama from guf. It's a difference of 306. Haguf is 94. Haneshama is 400. That's 306. Dvash is 306. Dvash is 306. So the dvash is the sweetness that somehow emphasizes the difference, that the primacy of the neshama, which makes it sweet. So why dvash? Why dvash? So I found another interesting gematria. It says like this: tapuach equals pru and revu. The words pru and revu equal tapuach. And pru revu is obviously having children, but it means propagating, populating the world. Taking the world and civilizing it. And who is the one that allows us, not only physically, to bring children to the world, or to be able to create a home that we can bring the bread home to, and that motivates us to bring the bread? That's dvash, isha. The word isha is honey. You think you call the wife honey. It's just, hey, honey. Honey, it's rooted, the word dvash is honey. The woman is honey. So what I think what we're saying is, and I want to read you something, it's a remarkable thing I saw this Shabbos. I heard about it, but I never saw it in writing. On Rosh Hashanah, very often, the women never make it to shul, especially if they have little kids. And the truth is they're not chayiv in shofar. The chayiv in davening, like any day, is no different than that day. But it's a little frustrating for them. But the truth is, the women is the fuel that fuels everything. Without them, we wouldn't have a yontif, we wouldn't have the children, we wouldn't have what to yearn for, what to daven for, what to work together for. So, but yet they don't participate. It's like they get a bum deal. So I'm going to read to you something I heard from Rabbi Lepian, his son, quotes in his name. He said like this, and this is the tribute today, the tapur and dvash, because the tapur, which is the neshama and the guf, only operates when we have dvash, which is the isha who makes that neshama be able to overpower the guf and define and make the beautiful music we were talking about yesterday and today. So he says like this, Rabbi Lepian, I'm going to paraphrase. Zeres HaGavracha used to say, I have a tradition, I have a Masorah, a tradition I've heard, a Kabbalah means from previous generations, that the women that were found in the house during the days of war and are dealing and handling their children, they don't need all the prayers and the atmosphere that we have in the shul in order for their prayers to go lifnai v'lifnim. The shofar brings that prayers. It says the Gemara brings it into the Holy of Holies. They have a pipeline, a direct pipeline. They have a hotline. Ad lamala till ad kisei hakavod ubekama milim, and with the few words that they mumble, whatever they say, Hashem, they mumble while they're changing a diaper or running after the kid. That they have an opportunity to daven, whatever they chaparayim, they get closer to the kisei hakavod, together with all the tzibur that stays for hours. And they just utter a few words that they slip in here and there between the catnaps of the children, and we crown Hashem with these words and these tefillas. When Hashem sits on his kisei hakavod, they join their prayers, go straight up, just a few words that they're able to say. And I think it's because, and it's interesting, we say a human is a shofar also because we take in the breath, and how we express it back. We could be disgruntled, we could be grouchy, we could be praising, and we can be kind, and we can be patient. So how we express it. Do we create music? Do we take the tension of that soul that comes out and has to grind through a struggle that is showing a guf and bring it out? So we take the deep breath, we blow the shofar, we take a deep breath, we tackle life, and we give back our life to Hashem and give it to them. A woman, when she carries a child, she breathes for the child. She's like the image of Hashem. She's the image of Hashem. What's the first thing a child does after he's born? He cries, takes in the breath of air, and he's reborn. And where does he get his oxygen originally from? For 9 months, the mother's breathing for him. It's vayipach b'yapam nishos chayim. The women have it. They represent. They're the dvash. They're the neshama in its pure form. That which is kol haneshama to halel ka. They carry neshama in them. They carry their own neshama. They carry a secondary neshama that they fuel and they give nutrients and they nurture and it grows within them because they are the isha. The hey, it's like the name of Hashem. The yud we got, the woman got the hey, which is the name of Hashem. They're both the name of Hashem, but the hey, which represents the manner in which Hashem created the world with the hey, because he just uttered it with a soft. The letters that come like the hey comes from the throat. It's we say on shul it's called the ois kalila, a light, because it's so pristine, it's so spiritual. It's the closest we get to Hashem because it's not even tangible, and that's the isha because there, as Rabbi Lepian tells us, they create the neshama, the kol neshama telka. That's my tribute for today in the stream of consciousness from the different things that we've been learning, and I hope you appreciate it. Now we have it recorded so we can send it out to all the women so they can hear it and hear what they really deserve. And I wish everyone a good night, and we'll see everyone at Mitzvah tomorrow. Bye-bye.